exhausting and thoroughly miserable condition. It often begins mildly, but it rarely stays that way. I know, I've been there. At its worst, the pain affected every aspect of my sleeping and waking life. I'm not ashamed to admit that at times it made me cry. When I read that some sufferers become so distressed by the condition that they fall into depression, I wasn't even slightly surprised. When I was first diagnosed, I did not realize how badly TMJ disrupts people's lives. Over time, I found out, and it was awful. You may already be aware that finding a remedy on your own for TMJ misery is likely to be a difficult and possibly frustrating task. If you've suffered from TMJ for a while, then you are already on that road, and you truly wonder where or even if it ever ends. That's exactly where I found myself. And as I searched for answers, I discovered that not only was I not alone, but that the outlook was often not a happy one. I had already searched high and low to find remedies, but I increasingly came to one terrifying conclusion. Specialists didn't really have a handle on what was causing my pain. In fact, it was worse than this. The treatments they recommended actually feel like experiments. Each specialist recommended his own specialism as a likely cure for my TMJ, but each specialist turned out to be wrong. GP, dentist, neurologist, orofacial surgeon, to name a few, all well-meaning, but all restricted to their own area of expertise. I doubt they really understand the root causes of TMJ. I, of course, knew even less, so I had to try it all. Nerve and muscle pain relief, splints, mouth guards, Botox, teeth filling, vagus nerve stimulation, surgery. As each one failed, I moved on to the next. And the results of all these efforts? Either small, short-lived improvements, or no improvements at all. Hours of my time in specialist offices, and thousands of my hard-earned dollars later, there was little to show but disappointment and lost hope. I almost got used to the process of meeting a new specialist, discussing my symptoms, listening to him or her give their professional opinion, then me paying substantial sums of money, hoping and praying that this time it would be different, only to realize in the end that it wasn't different. It was exactly the same. Well, the same except I was financially poorer than I had been before. But the TMJ hadn't gone away, or even improved. But wasted money, wasted hours, and dashed hopes aren't the real horror of TMJ. Before eventually stumbling into the remedy that cured my TMJ, I had come to a major realization about the condition. And the real horror of TMJ is that it isn't stationary. It doesn't sit still. Instead, it deteriorates. It gets worse and worse and worse. Which leads us to the truly horrible realization that wherever you are with your TMJ right now isn't where you'll be in the near future. It's almost certainly going to become more painful over time. It did for me, and it did for almost every case study I read. My symptoms became dramatically worse. It wasn't just the pain that worsened, although it definitely did. What I found deeply distressing was the way my face became distorted. People remarked that I physically looked different. The TMJ was pulling on the muscles in my face while also wearing away at the joints on one side of my jaw. And so my jaw shifted to the left, making my face lopsided. After a while, a new symptom. Whenever I opened my mouth, there was a loud pop. It started as the occasional one-off, then it became regular and loud. And by loud, I mean that a person 5 feet away could hear it. I quickly learned to not open my mouth all the way. Why? Because twice it almost dislocated when I yawned, which really scared the life out of me. So I had to make sure I didn't open it more than halfway. And then I developed the sensation of clicking, popping, and scraping whenever I moved my mouth. It was especially disturbing when I was eating, and provided a constant reminder to me that things were gradually getting worse. My own research found that none of this was unusual. This wasn't special TMJ. This was normal TMJ. This is how TMJ gets worse. Pain disturbed my sleep, often making sleep impossible. I awoke already exhausted. Some days, I swear I sleepwalked through the day. Only the pain in my head and face kept me awake. But as I say, TMJ doesn't sit still. Over time, the pain spread so that it covered my entire head, all over my face, across both shoulders, and down my neck. I wondered how much worse it could get. I soon found out. My TMJ started to affect. If that's what you want, then click the order button below to get the program in just 90 seconds. By the way, don't forget, as your TMJ progresses, you will spend time, energy, and money on drugs, tests, and procedures. You'll have to. TMJ can become unbearable. These expensive remedies may not work in any way at all, and while they're failing, at considerable expense to you, your TMJ just gets worse. If you've decided to rid yourself of TMJ pain, if not now, when? Christian's program costs less than a month of coffee, and this offer ensures you win, because if you don't think the program was worth your money, then get a full 100% refund. Do you know how many specialists will offer you a full, no questions asked, 100% guarantee on the work that they charge thousands of dollars for? None of them. Not a single one of them. If a loved one was in the pain you're in, or facing the possibility of it, would you want them to try a quick, pain-free, proven, and super cheap method to make them happy again? If you do it for someone else, then for goodness sake, do it for yourself. By all means, spend your savings with the medical profession. But first of all, be kind to yourself. And try Christian's program for yourself. And one more thing. Remember that TMJ often gets worse. And when it does, it can cause real damage to bones and joints. Some of that damage can never be reversed. Leaving it to do its ugly work makes no sense. Thousands of us decided to act rather than suffer, and we're pain-free as a result. Not acting now is a decision, but it's a poor one. The 100% money-back, no questions guarantee means you're doing this without any risk at all. Make the decision. Get the program. All you can possibly lose is doctor's visits, medical bills, pain, fear, and misery. I'm glad I did it. You'll be glad you did it too. Click the order button below for instant access.